After the revolution, you fast forward a good 50 years or so, and in 2006 the edition of the short Churchill was added and presented at the 8th annual Habanos Festival, and this was the first size to be added to the line, the first standard release size to be added to the line in decades. You did have, I believe 2001 was the first one, edition limitada, 2003, there are a whole bunch of different ones. But the first size to be added permanently to the line was this little guy right here. So just a few more notes here that I wrote, that I thought about while I was doing this. The Romeo y Julieta short Churchill, okay, is 124 millimeters by 50 millimeters, 4 7/8 or 4.9 inches by 50 millimeters. So a lot of people hear short and they think short robusto. It's not. It's really a robusto. It's got some size to it. It's 3 millimeters wider in circumference than the standard Churchill, and it's not that short. It's 4.9 inches. It's almost 5 inches. By American standards, 5 by 50 is a true robusto. But you can have robustos that are 4.9 or 5.1 or 5 inches by 51 or 49, you know. But with Cuban cigars in factory shapes, it's a little more complicated because even the slightest change means a whole new thing. And what I wrote down here is to say that right there, 48 by 5 in American market would really be considered a robusto. But 48 by 127, the same 48 by 127 or 5 inches, which would be considered a robusto on the American market, is actually a factory shape Hermoso No. 4, or what would say on the box, a Corona Extra. So you have a cigar that's 5 inches and only 2 millimeters less than the standard 50 that would make it a robusto, but now it's not a robusto, it's a Hermoso No. 4 or a Corona Extra. You know, not even some shapes, the factory name changes millimeter by millimeter, but the standard production shape, as far as what people know it as, here's a good point. Then you have the wide Churchill, which came out a few years back, and that guy is 55 millimeters by 130 or 5.1 inches. Okay, now it's 55, so it's 5 millimeters more than the standard 50 of a robusto, and 1/10 of an inch more than a robusto. Yet the factory shape is a Montesco. I never even, so there's very, 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 all different factory names. However, in this case, they also do call the wide Churchill a robusto. So, oddly enough, both the short Churchill and the wide Churchill are considered robustos, although even though the factory names are different. So, I thought that was just a little interesting as far as shapes go. When you see shapes that are slightly different, if you have a robusto and then there's another one that's a little bigger, a little fatter, and a tiny bit longer, it could also be considered a robusto. You don't have to have a name for every different thing, unless you're working in the factory, because that's how they refer to the cigars, what you're making that day, and it has to be perfect. So that's the brand history. I've been smoking through and going through the first third, and what I get is that the further down I get, the more flavor I get. This thing is really opening up. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I just got the sweetest. I got a note just there. So sweet that it was literally sugary on my tongue. That was strange. That rarely happens. Wow. Wow. When I say sweetness or sweet spices, I mean, the essence of. Not like you put a spoonful of sugar in your mouth and you taste the sugar. There really is no sugar, but you taste the tone of it, like of a cinnamon or clove or, gingerbread or, I just got a sugary note, literally sweet. There it is again, like right in the center of the tongue, behind the, kind of where it caves. Wow. That's wonderful. And that's the start of the second third. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, so the first third was really roasted nuts all the way. with a slightly earthy base, hints of cedar, hints of what I'll call cinnamon or nutmeg, definitely some hints of a nutmeg type flavor, and another one that I can't quite place, but I'll say cinnamon. A very sweet aroma with a bit of a floral tone to it, and in general, just great Cuban tobacco with a great level of salt to it. You know, not too much, not too. Once in a while, a bit of a twang, but like I said again, very, you know, moderate, not too sharp, not too deep. Just everything is balance in this cigar. This is a balanced cigar as far as flavors go, and strength too. I'm sure. I'm not, you know, wow. Some delicious sweet notes there. This is smoking nicely, burning nicely. Got a little bit of a crookedness on the burn here right now, but probably just because I had to relight, you know, talking, and I keep talking, and it keeps. So sometimes doing a review on video is a little difficult to keep your cigar, concentrate on keeping your cigar going while talking. Excellent flavors, excellent. And a little bit of spice, especially at the beginning, but that settles down quite quickly. In fact, I'll really attribute that more to the taste buds waking up than actual peppery spice. There's a little bit. Very nice cigar. So what we're going to do now is keep on smoking into the second third and do a few viewer emails. Okay, we are back, and it is viewer email time. We're smoking the Romeo y Julieta short Churchill, and it is wonderful so far. I gotta say, while they look great in the humidor, I am liking double bands less and less these days because they're a pain in the neck. They interrupt the smoking. Sometimes I'll be holding my cigar and forget they're there. If I didn't take it off, it'll start burning, which it didn't in this case, but I'm just saying. And it gives twice the chance that you're going to fucking damage the cigar when trying to get them off. You know, so I am a little tired of double bands. Again, they look great in the humidor, but pain in the ass. Anyway, so I got a couple here, and we'll just get into them. First one, Vanilla Gorilla. Cool name. Hey, Dr. Joe. Recently started watching your videos, and I am now a subscriber. I'm new to... Thank you. I'm very glad. I love all these new subscribers. I'm new to cigars, and really enjoy your videos, and I'm just trying to soak up the knowledge and passion you show for cigars. Well, you're going to need a big fucking sponge, my friend. But you can't soak up passion. You can soak up knowledge, that's for sure. Passion is going to come to you naturally along with the knowledge, and as you keep on progressing deeper into this. If you had a spark lit under you and suddenly, for whatever reason, cigars drew your interest, follow it, get into it, and don't give up on it. You know, there are things that can happen that may deter you. Who knows? I don't know. There are times when I felt like a little out of it, more than, you know, not as into it as much. But all in all, don't give up on it, man, because it only just gets better and better and better. It's one of the best things that ever happened. So follow your passion, man. You're gonna love this. And watch the videos. I hope you do learn a lot. I try my best to convey what I know to other people in a manner that they can understand. So hopefully that happens. But you also said, I remember in one of your videos you saying you're open to suggestions for cigar reviews. No, who the hell said that? I review what I want when I want. No. Obviously, depending on which sticks you have, could you review the following? H. Upmann No.2, H. Upmann Half Corona, R&J Short Churchill, Monty No.2, Cohiba, anything. And I think I already responded to this comment, and I said, well, I know I did actually, and I said, you're in luck, I'll review them all. However, I do not have an H. Upmann No.2 right now. Shame on me. But hopefully in the near future I will be getting some, especially after smoking those Magnum 46s. I'll definitely be getting some more H. Upmanns. Anything else goes. The R&J Short Churchill, your comment is one of the reasons I jumped to this, because you were the third person to ask to have this cigar reviewed. So we're doing that right now. The Monty No.2 I have and will review those. Cohiba, will be reviewing a lot of Cohibas in the near future. Right now I can review Robustos, Vejiques, 54s, 56s, Maduro Magicos, a whole bunch of different stuff. So we will do that as well. And for H. Upmann, since I don't have the No.2, I am planning on doing a review on the Royal Corona. I'm sorry, the Royal Robusto. So we'll get to that. Thanks for watching. Keep watching. Any other questions, comments, please comment. Any other questions, just ask. And I hope you do enjoy these reviews. We'll be doing a lot of the cigars you want to see in the very near future. Okay, so before I get into that, we're getting through the second third, and it's very good. There's a slight hint of a mossiness to it, which is like part of the aging, I suppose, which is good. It's not, it's a little odd, but it's very good. There's some spice going on right now. An occasional coffee-esque type note, but very, very little. Like I said again, this cigar, just like the first third, is really not doing anything in the back of the palate as far as coffee notes, leather notes. That's where you get most of those notes. This cigar is very aromatic, giving me a really nice, nutty, earthy flavor with a whole bunch of different sweet notes, you know. Kind of like the aroma is just very sweet and floral, a little bit like baking bread. There's a breadiness to the cigar. I think that's what I was trying to say before with when it makes my mouth a little cottony kind of. It's a nice feeling. There's an occasional twang and a lot of hints of all sorts of just sweet spices. Very, very nice. It does have a bit of complexity to it. There are some very subtle notes that change up here and there that seem pretty random, like that sweet note I got, that sugary sweet note all of a sudden. That was very odd, but very good. Really good cigar. You know, there is some, with the tobacco and salt, there's actually a bit of sweetness, like real sweetness to this tobacco. Something I do not get often. I hope that that is some sort of quality that will increase even more with age. Very good. It's really starting to have, you know, the roasted nuts, it's starting to have a kind of a graham crackery, kind of like that H. Upmann No.2 before it. Anyway, let's move on a little. We do have two more that I want to get into. Metal Man. And this was in response to the La Excepcion video that I did. A lot of people jumped in when that jar video came out, so we're glad you guys like it. And he says, is it strange that I drooled a bit when I saw this? Haha, thanks for the awesome videos. You're welcome. And haha, no, it's not strange. My mouth literally waters sometimes when I see cigars online. And I responded that it's funny because, you know, when I see, first of all, when I first saw this perfect example, when I first saw the La Excepcion jar as a collector, not only was I like, oh my God, you know, like excited, you know, in all when I realized that only 200 were made, and I started, a feeling of literal depression kind of started coming over me, and one thing happened. This is why collecting, as far as smoke, is such an adventure, because when I saw the jar, I found it on a site that I've bought from before, who I'm very comfortable with, and the guy had one, and I emailed him, and he said he would hold it for me, and unfortunately, it was such a brief instance. When he went back, it had just been sold. And I thought, man, because the other jars were in sites I never ordered from, and they don't have, I really literally got depressed. I felt like I felt really shitty. And in the same way, I get so overjoyed and excited sometimes when I get a delivery, or I realize I got something amazing coming, or something new comes out. Two things I'm overly excited about right now. I'm trying not to talk about much because I want them to be a surprise. Well, you know what? I won't talk about them because I want them to be a surprise. But I'm itchy. I'm itchy, man. I'm itchy for it. So yeah, all that stuff, drooling, excitement, depression, hair pulling, banging your head against the wall, waiting for a delivery, worry, and then in the end, that when you finally get them and light one up, that kind of like sex. You first meet the girl, you're worried, you don't know what's going to happen, you're a little excited, anticipatory, maybe a little nervous. It starts happening, you're excited, everything's great, you're into it, maybe she breaks up with you, you get depressed, or you miss a date, she cancels, but then she calls back and you end up doing it, and finally it's all over and done, you light a cigarette, and that's that. Very similar. Collecting is very similar to sex. Except for the sex part, of course. Dude, I do not have sexual relations with my jars. Although some people have wondered. Anyway, that's that. And now I want to get into, before we finish and get into our last third, because I want to talk about this one for a while. This is the most important one. But I want to give it a little time.